You know the number one variable that determines whether you're going to stay in a relationship? It's not whether your partner is mean. It's whether your community supports your relationship. So no one does this for people who are committed to having healthy relationships for years. Just like health span. Oh, I just want to be healthy until No, in relationships, do you want to have a long relationship that's miserable? Or do you want to have a long relationship that is full of energy? It's the same thinking we do in biohacking applied to a different skill set, and your relationship is one of the most important variables in the environment around you and inside of you, so you have control of your biology. Like, this is biohacking, and it's some of the most important work you can do. So I've learned an enormous amount. I'm usually well behaved now. Just kidding, it's not like that. And I would encourage you to learn from a top expert in the world. I have vetted her very thoroughly. And on that note, my love, take it away.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All eyes are on me. Andy Cohen, the famous TV host, leans in and asks, Christina, why are you still single? I'm 39 years old on a Hollywood set, lights blazing, palms sweating. 3 of my exes are waiting backstage. They are about to reveal how they rate me on affection, communication, kissing, what it was like to date me. Can you imagine? I'm on a tele-reality TV show called X-Rated. My episode title, The Relationship Guru Who Can't Find Love. 2 weeks before filming, I nearly quit. Calling men I loved, asking them to dissect our past on national television felt insane, beyond vulnerable. Was I selling out on fame or bravely unpacking my intimacy journey? I chose courage. After weeks of contemplating, I said yes, because I've learned magic happens when I step outside of my comfort zone. I've been trying to understand love my whole life. I'm 12 years old, waiting by the window. It's way past my bedtime. Dad missed dinner again. Nobody explains why. I love my dad, but my parents can't get along. So I start searching for answers on my own. I become obsessed with love. Reading my mom's journal, eavesdropping, watching from afar. I sneak into my brother's room, read love notes from his girlfriend. Even build a research library in the form of a shoebox. Love tokens, dried flowers, notes from the boys, the ones I liked, the ones who liked me. I saved everything. Every folded piece of notebook paper felt like a clue. But no matter how much I collected, I still couldn't figure love out. At 17, I finally found it. Brad is captain of the basketball team, me, a cheerleader. He asked me to be his girlfriend on homecoming night. We become the it couple, passing notes, surprising each other, sharing all of our first. Then, on my high school trip to Cancun, barefoot outside of a McDonald's at 4 a.m., a friend blurts out, Brad's cheating on you. My world collapses. He said he loved me. I walk straight to a payphone, call collect, and instead of my name, I say, I'm breaking up with you. I know you're cheating. When I return home, Brad is on my bed. He's shaking, crying, holding a 5-page letter, swearing he would never cheat. I believe him in the moment because how could somebody lie to the person that they love? But I never fully regained trust. We break up, reconcile, and then finally end it. Days later, I tell a girl from Brad's class, we broke up, he cheated. She confirms, yeah, with Kelsey. I have no idea. Why can't people just tell the truth? Within all the lies, I feel so confused. How will I ever know what's real? That's when I decide I need to armor up. I moved to New York City in my 20s, chasing my career, meeting men easily, dating like they do on Sex and the City. At 25, I'm sure he's the one. To keep it safe, I have him sign a dating contract before saying I love you. Thinking a folded piece of paper could protect my heart. 2 years in, he asked for a break. 3 brutal weeks later, we reunite. I ask, anything I should know? No, I love you. I want to be together. A year later, I find out he slept with somebody during that break. Another lie. My walls grow higher. I'm 32 when Tinder took off. Right from the start, I hated dating apps. My friends did too. We wanted real love, not swiping. Hours on the phone, in cafes, on dance floors, all of us trying to figure out how to find real, true love. We were showing up, looking for the one, and it wasn't working. Now, I wanted to understand love, not just for me, but for everybody else. And this is when my childhood research instincts kicked in. I went all in on studying love. Books, TED Talks, podcasts, medicine ceremonies, therapy, coaching. If it had something to teach about love, I was in. I even launched my own podcast, Deepen with Christina, just so I could ask the experts all my questions about love. I found the ones who teach love with precision. Annie Lala, Esther Perel, Gay and Katie Hendricks. The list goes on. Finally, to stop the endless swiping for me and my friends, I start hosting dating events, underground ones. My thinking was, get a bunch of dope people into a room, connect deeply, and we'll all live happily ever after. I personally interviewed every single person before they came to one of my events. I heard stories of heartbreak, broken expectations, anxiety, pressure. It was clear. I wasn't the only one confused about love. This made me want to go deeper, research further. I tested out different ideas, like shop and shag. A calling for singles in Los Angeles to come out on Monday nights to the chicest grocery store in Los Angeles, Air One. Their job? Make their availability known by using the code word soup. Asking sexy patrons that they pass by, how's the soup? You want soup with that? Have you been to the soup aisle? It became a local phenomenon, landing on the front page of LA Magazine and even airing on the Bill Maher Show.
At the upscale grocery chain here in LA called Air One, also known as Shop and Shag, it's reported that they purposefully make the aisles narrow so that as you squeeze by, you feel people's energy.
Then, in 2022, at age 40, I got the call to host the Dating Dojo at Dave Asprey's Biohacking Conference, the very same event that I hosted here 2 nights ago. And it was there, in front of hundreds of people, primed for healthy relationships, eager for authentic connection, that I realized something incredible. After all that research, all those risky action, all that supporting of others, I had become a love expert. My 12-year-old self would be so amazed. It's not because I have all the answers. It's because I'm committed to studying love forever. Just like Dave Asprey did for biohacking, I started spotlighting the relationship industry through WeDeepen, a platform curating top teachers and experiences for couples and individuals to deepen in love. Now, I've worked with thousands of people, hosted hundreds of events, and I'm offering up my own teachings and tools to support you in having the love you so desire and deserve too. Back to the X-rated TV set. It's near the end of the show. My exes are lined up in front of me. They each pitch their plea to get back together. Andy asks, "So, Christina, do you want to give any of these men another chance?" I hesitate, stutter. This part wasn't in the script. I don't want to hurt any of them, but I'm unwilling to betray myself again. So instead of being nice, I decide to be real. The type of realness I wish I was shown for my mom, for my dad, for my ex's cheating, for my own internal stories. Each man stands there waiting. And finally, with empathy and courage, I answer honestly. I'm curious about what else is out there for me. It's not because these men weren't amazing. It's because I'd clearly outgrown who I was inside of each of these relationships. My growth was calling me elsewhere. My truth had set me free to be more of me. And here's what I've learned. Love unfolds in 3 stages. 1, innocence, when you trust love without question. 2, armored, when hurt makes you protect your heart. And 3, skilled, when you reclaim vulnerability, wisdom, and openness. To master love, I've learned to embrace the skilled stage, learning to love with honesty, depth, and intention, willing to speak my truth in every moment. It calls forth the most authentic version of myself. Now, remember that dating dojo back in 2022? Well, it was electric. People cracked open. They grew in ways that I didn't even expect. And me? That night started a whole new chapter in my life. One that eventually led me into a relationship with the very man whose name is on everything all around us, Dave Asprey. Dave and I are committed to growth. Sometimes we do that gracefully, and sometimes not so much. We have a love coach. We lean into the discomfort. We have a supportive community around our love. And we mastermind our relationship. Because love isn't something that you find. It's a devotion to love itself. And if I can learn to love that way, so can you. So what does skilled love look like in practice? It's about showing up again and again for the purpose of love, especially when it's difficult and challenging. But having the right tools is key. I've come to rely on a simple framework. Something powerful, grounded, real. It's called the 4 pillars of a conscious relationship. I first learned of this from therapist Shelley Ballard. And when I shared it with Dave during early dating, I watched his entire nervous system relax. These pillars are, number 1, prioritize growth. No attachment to outcome, growth comes first. 2, own your own experience. Take responsibility for your own reactions, your triggers, your woundings. 3, all feelings are welcome and no internal process is condemned. And 4, practice love in every moment with every person. Today, I'm going to unpack the first pillar with you. Prioritize growth. No attachment to outcome. Growth comes first. This is the starting point for anybody who is serious about mastering love. If you're in a relationship or craving one for the sake of being partnered or married, you're missing the whole point. Becoming skilled at love is a lifelong achievement. Your intimacy journey is your life story. You're going to want a partner who reflects you, stretches you, challenges you, and expands you. Because you're not coming together to stay comfortable. You're coming together to grow. And growth, it can look 1,000 ways. Healing old wounds. Learning to speak your truth with kindness. Letting go of outdated patterns. Deepening intimacy in ways that you've never done before. Ask yourself, what does growth look like for me right now? Start to get curious. Is this growth as an individual? Growth as a couple? Growth that ripples outwards into your friendships, your family, your work? Growth that makes the world a better place? Because when growth is the goal, love becomes the teacher. But here's the problem. Most of us weren't taught to start our relationships with growth in mind. We start with comfort, validation, a fantasy, a dopamine hit, someone to save us from our misery of being alone. We think, will this person make me happy? That's totally normal. It's completely human. And eventually, it falls short. Because when growth stops, love often follows. Instead of asking yourself, what can I get? What about asking, who can I become? Most people don't think this way. Remember high school yearbooks? Friends writing, don't ever change. But why not? Growth is what makes life worth living. Ideally, you're going to evolve again and again. I say this not just as somebody who teaches love, but somebody who has learned the hard way what happens when you don't put love first. I'm in my 30s. I'm dating a man long distance. I like him more than I'm letting on. Truth is, I love him, but I can't say it. I'd be looking at him in the eyes, saying, I love you, I love you, I love you over and over in my head, but it never come out. Sound familiar? I told myself, don't be too much. I stopped asking for what I wanted. I started twisting myself into somebody that I thought he could love. I wasn't growing. I was shrinking, disappearing. I wanted to get it right. I wanted us to last. And that story, that wrote the end. He slipped away, and I'm left heartbroken all over again. Now contrast that to my relationship with Dave. I'm in my 40s. I've been obsessively studying love for over a decade and learning so much. We're newly dating, deeply connecting, and not exclusive. He was fresh out of a long marriage, and I knew his soul needed dating experiences. I'd never been married, and I ultimately wanted an all-in relationship. After 9 months, I started shrinking again. The fun was still there, but the joy fading. Not being met in my deeper desires for a big, committed love was draining me. I started to wonder, is what I want too much? And if he really liked me, he would claim me already. The pressure started to build. I picked up the phone, ready to explain myself again, my needs, my desires. But this time, I caught myself. I'd remember my teachings. It's not about what I get. It's about who I get to become. Growth comes first. So instead of demanding anything from Dave, I pulled out a tool I learned by studying Kabbalah many years prior. It's the proactive formula. It's a 5-step process for turning reactivity into growth. Step 1, an obstacle occurs. You feel it in your body. My obstacle, I wanted more from a relationship than the person I was with was available to give. And I could feel it in my body. The shrinking, the energy drain, the lack of excitement were clear body signals. Step number 2, your reaction is the real work. It's not about the situation. It's about what you are willing to do about it. This is your opportunity for growth. What was I willing to do about it? Step 3, pause. Take a breath. Interrupt the urge to blame, lash out, or shut down. I practice restriction. I didn't blame him for where he was in his process. I journaled, contemplated, came back to my core, my truth, my own authenticity. And step 4, ask for insights. I got support from my friends, from my family, my higher self, God. I tapped into my own intuition. And step 5, respond with love over fear. The answer came to me. And I did the most loving, courageous thing I could do. I said, I need a break. 90 days. No contact. Not out of spite, but to come back to myself. To become available for what I truly wanted. During those 90 days, I sat in the fire of uncertainty and I didn't try to put it out. I let myself feel the ache of not being wanted, not being chosen. It's not because I wasn't lovable. It's because he wasn't available for the type of love that I was calling in. And I stopped making that mean anything about my worth. I stopped asking, how do I get him to love me the way that I want? And I started asking, how do I commit myself so fully to what I want and never abandon my needs just to keep a connection? I spiraled at times. What if he met somebody new? What if somebody better came along? The old Brad, Jen, Angelina triangle, it haunted me. I had to face my fears, my jealousy, my fear of being replaced. Towards the end of the 90 days, I started to make big leaps in my business. And I longed to share those results with Dave. He was a big advocate for my work with WeDeepen and my success. So I reached out, this time with a distinctly different energy. I was grounded, clear, good with him, fine without him. I just wanted to share a moment of joy with somebody I cared deeply for. We were friends first. He replied warmly, I miss you. I told him he was becoming my favorite person. He said, you are my favorite person. Sparks flew, energy shifted. We both shared with each other what those 90 days had been like. The ache, the growth, the clarity, and the desire to keep exploring with each other. But this time, we were both all in, only dating each other, going steady. He told me that he liked the sexiness, the openness, the fun that I brought into his life. But what he appreciated most was the confidence and the commitment that I had to myself. Isn't that interesting? It wasn't the people pleasing. It wasn't the giving in. It wasn't the trying to be perfect. It was me choosing myself. And when you choose yourself, you take the pressure off the other person. They trust you more. It invites them to rise up and meet you or to get out of the way. When you choose yourself with growth and clarity, it changes everything. You follow growth, it's real. You can trust it. And when both people do that, you create something extraordinary. And this is why the WeDeepen Network exists. So that all of us can have the love that we so deserve and desire. To mastermind love. To expand, to grow, to make progress. Supported by a community. So instead of doing a typical Q&A, I'm going to give you a little sample of what it's like to be at a WeDeepen Love Immersion. We're going to do some masterminding. First, I'd love to hear from you what resonated. What did you hear for yourself in my story? Would anyone be willing to share? Yes.
I think when you take care of yourself, of your own needs, you become a fuller person, and the other, your partner appreciates you more.
Mm-hmm. For sure. They trust you. You trust what's true. Thank you.
Speak your truth with kindness. So I have no problem sharing with my husband what's upsetting with me, but I could definitely do it in a softer, more loving way.
Yeah. You know, when people are dating, they're often terrified to speak their own truth to another person. And if you remember that, what I would remind Dave during early dating, because he was scared to break my heart, like, I own my own heart. I It's mine. Be gentle with it. But it's my heart. You can't break it.
I think it's also learning about yourself more deeply and owning your own truth.
Learning about yourself more deeply, yes. We're an onion. There's so much inside of us to explore. Other reflections. Stacy.
Be brave to ask your exes for feedback.
Be brave to ask your exes for feedback. Who would do that? Who would go on a TV show with their exes? Yeah, look at all these other brave ones. Amazing. Yes.
Walking away when you know you really love somebody, but it's best for you. You have to sit with that moment.
Yeah. That's really the body intelligence, the emotional intelligence. Yeah. Thank you.
Not shrinking yourself for other people. I think that's what I took most from your story, and I know I do that a lot.
Not shrinking yourself.
Like I shrink myself a lot for others, and I definitely want to follow the path you're showing and grow for myself. And I think I need to take the 90 days.
90 days. That's a theme this week. I've heard of other people being in the 90 days. Yes.
So, what's that reminder of the impact we have on other people? Because when you felt grounded and safe in yourself, that was permission to feel grounded and safe in themselves. So really, the work always starts from within, and then be the best you can flexible and that impact we have on people around us.
Yes, for sure.
I love when you say that love is not what you get, but who you become. Because love is this lifelong journey of intimacy, deepening your intimacy. And I think this is like very important.
Your intimacy journey is your life story. Yes.
Look at step 2 and 3, and I think that's something I know I've learned a lot about. That you kind of pause before you make a judgment, you listen, you learn, and then, like you say, you grow.
Yeah, we grow through the experiences that feel uncomfortable because it gives us something to push up against and to expand into.
With step 2, just owning your own experience. I don't think we covered that today, but I think that was resonating with me because a lot of times we don't own our own experience and feelings versus like others or how we.
Relationships are a free will experience. You can leave at any time. So if you find yourself blaming another person for your own experiences, and when you pair bond with another human, it's most likely you're going to feel negative emotions at times. It's natural. You're going to feel jealousy. You're going to feel a sense of abandonment. You're going to feel overlooked. And those are generally coming from your previous experiences, and they're showing up for you to have an opportunity to heal them. And when you couple number 2 with owning your own experience, with number 3 is all feelings are welcome, no internal process is condemned. So you put those 2 together. You're not going to blame somebody else, but you're going to share the experience of what it's like to be you. And that is so captivating. And most people don't do that. Let's move to an Ask Me Anything portion.
Yes, when is the book coming out?
Soon. I actually have one that I've written with the working title, Open the Door. Open the Car Door. That's the working title. Open the Car Door. Because just that portal opens up into so many other areas. TBD. Yes.
You spoke about community, building your relationship. How do you curate that community? How do you know how to let the right people in, and what kind of parameters do you have?
Great question. Well, I am the founder of WeDeepen, and we mastermind love, and we build communities for relationships and to support you. So that's one way. Come join us at a Love Immersion, end of June. Another way is when you commit yourself to studying love, you're going to find yourself in new circles and new communities with new people. And you have a bunch of epic people around you. We're at the Biohacking conference. I say the people here are primed for healthy relationships. I used to think the yoga market was going to be the entryway into those willing to come and study love. And then I got introduced to the biohacking community. I'm like, these people are into longevity and mental health and well-being. Yes, they're the people that are ready for healthy relationships. So being here is a good place to start. And also, if you just start asking people around you, how's your love life? And listen for how they answer to that question. Are they blaming anybody else? Or are they seeking to get better? And then I would just start opening yourself up and hearing their stories and you sharing your stories, and you'll find the right people for you.
How do you encourage like radical honesty? Because the story of being outside the McDonald's and your boyfriend lying, and you're like, what was the point of lying? You could just tell me the truth.
Authenticity is the highest vibrational frequency on the planet. When you really share yourself, when you de-armor, you become open. And also too, because I like to practice being unoffendable. Like I want everybody around me to be so comfortable that they can be real. And sometimes it might feel painful, but is it really harming me? No, your truth doesn't really harm anybody. Actually, you can rob them of their own intuitive knowing when you don't tell your truth. And when you don't tell your truth, you may end up in situations and relationships that there's something else better for you out there, but because you're unwilling to speak your truth, you're stuck. And if you want to live in truth, then you just start speaking it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll take one more question, and then I have goodies that I want to share with you. Yes.
So now with all the knowledge that you've received through all of your experiences and what you practice and you provide to other people, what would you change in your own story to make it better?
Ooh, that's a great question. What would I change in my own story to make it better?
Starting from your 12-year-old little girl.
Oh, I wouldn't change anything. I'm so grateful. My dad and my mom are both here with us. So they got to hear this story too. I wouldn't change anything because them living their own dharma and their own life is what made me be who I am today. Now, also too, because you asked that question, I was standing up here talking about love and relationships. So 3 weeks before this talk, I threw my relationship on a cutting board. I was like, okay, this is what needs to change. This is what needs to change. This is what my body's feeling. And then we went through our own rupture repair process. And now the relationship is even that much better. So I'll continue to do that. You have to be willing to break up to get the love that you want. So how was that for you? How was that experience? Yeah? Anyone feel inspired? Yeah? It's because love is the ultimate biohack. You wouldn't wait for your body to break down before you seek help or invest in it. Or maybe you did, and that's why you're here right now. Why would you do this with your heart? Your intimacy journey is your life story. When you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about your Oura Ring data or the supplements you took, or asking to see your wallet one last time so you can see how much money is in there. You're going to be thinking about the people who matter and how you showed up to them, how well you loved them. Remember when you had never heard of biohacking? And now that you know about it, you can't imagine what your life would be like without it, right? This is what the people who come to a love immersion, who have worked with me, say, is now that they've experienced real, true love, what's possible, that they can't imagine living their life without it. Quick show of hands, who has had a meaningful experience with WeDeepen? Look at that, wow, wow. Okay, let's popcorn. Who would be willing to share about a meaningful experience that you had with us? Something that you took away. Stand up.
Your journey is so powerful, and it makes me emotional to see the courage that it took to do that. My whole life, love has been really important, and I haven't known how to do it. I was married for 15 years, and since then I've been dating, but I still didn't know how to do it. So about a year ago, I reached out to Christina because I didn't have any friends with good relationships, I realized. And so since then I've been trying to help her with this because I believe in it so much. So everything has been meaningful, and I'm so grateful for the life's work you've done to get to this point that you can help us, because I still need it.
Here's what you can do next. Scan this code. You're gonna get the 4 pillars, the proactive formula, and invitations to upcoming WeDeepen experiences. And I have a special announcement. Our next WeDeepen Love Immersion is happening at the end of June. It's 4 full days with me, Dave Asprey, and world-class relationship experts. You're going to get personal attention from all of us because it's an intimate group of people. There's only space for 40. And you're going to take away tools so that you can have an extraordinary love life. A supportive community. Jason, this is your answer. A supportive community who's going to help you master relationships. And 3, the ability to create a life that by the time you get to the end of it, you can say, wow, now that was a life worth living. Dave is giving everybody here at the Biohacking Conference a special $300 off the Love Immersion. You can use the promo code Dave. And when you come to our booth, we have these amazing WeDeepen team. They're all wearing pink. You can use one of their codes as well if they've been helping you this weekend. I'm going to go back to the booth. My team will be back at the booth. I love to talk to you back there. It's been a pleasure and an honor being here with you today and telling my story. Thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Such a rock star.
This will change your life, period.
The opportunity to spend an entire weekend focusing on love.
To do that in a way that is platonic, without expectations, was really powerful and allows to just kind of release, it's like, oh, it's a dating event. It's not a dating event. This is for your life and all your relationships and your love life, because love transcends more than just intimacy.
The vibe of the community is super open and heart-centered and loving and just really genuine, authentic people.
Curious, growth-minded, like-minded, loving. I have never felt so loved, accepted,
I've developed some really deep bonds. We've shared some really vulnerable moments, and in this process discovered my own courage to love, and also saw others step forward into embracing love for themselves and for others.
The rich concentration of so many great people and so many great ideas and so well facilitated, you're going to be hard pressed to find that kind of quality anywhere else.
Anyone who is looking to deepen their connections, understand themselves, understand their partners.
There's something called biohacking that a lot of us are really interested in here. This is like love hacking. And love is such an important driver for most of us, but we don't know how to get it. We don't know how to feel it. We don't know how to be it. And that's what this weekend is an opportunity to do, is hack our own love lives.
We had these amazing coaches with so much experience and knowledge.
These are master level coaches, so I knew that I was in really good hands.
Getting to see the way that they could tune into each individual and their individual needs so quickly.
It was just absolutely incredible. They just were really good at getting to the crux of what was really going on, and they gave me tools to really open up my heart. And now look at me. Let's fucking go.
It's not just hard work and introspection. There's so much play and joyfulness and connection.
Even the surroundings, the venues that Christina chooses, the food is so nourishing, just really high level, high produced, high quality event from start to finish.
I feel rejuvenated. I feel more in love with myself and so much more opportunity and hope for what's to come in my love life.
This is fully transformative work, so do it. You will not regret it. It will give back to you many, many times throughout your life, I am sure.
I'm so thankful this was my first retreat ever. It's like the best investment I've ever made. What I found at the end of this was I felt more belonging in the last 3 days with people I just met than I felt in the 2 years that I moved to a new state not really knowing anybody.
I think of all the stuff going on in our world, and I think if everyone had this experience, the world would be such a brighter, more positive, loving place.